Now that I'm going to start recording. And we're good to go. Okay, so let's start. Please help me out accepting the people when they come in. Hey, hello everyone. I wanted to greet everyone and welcome you to this event. I'm Gustavo. I'm the president and founder of the UBCO Adjunct Club. I'll be one of your hosts for today. I'm also accompanied here with some of my executives. So I have Shilong and Seamus with me. So first, I want to tell you a little bit about our club. We are a new club that we just started now. Our main focus is to inspire or get other people excited about applied biology, especially in the areas of biotech and synthetic biology. We are going to give some workshops, especially for those that are not in the science majors, so that they can learn the basics of molecular biology, synthetic biology, programming, mathematical modeling, and other dry and wet lab techniques. We're also going to bring some guest lecturers so that they can know what people around the world are doing in these areas. Make projects. For example, we want to participate in the Adjunct competition, which is hosted by the MIT. It stands for the International Genetic Engineering Machine. And we also want to do some events, like, for example, we are planning for next semester to do a small journal club and reading articles 101, where the purpose is to help students early on to learn how to read scientific papers and learn the science behind all that too. And of course, also have some fun activities between us. We are a club by students and for students. And we're also working with the SEO to bring some opportunities to people that are really interested in these areas. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we gave away 2 entries to the PSNA 2021, which is the Phytochemical Society of North America annual meeting. It's a 5-day symposium with workshops and keynote speakers. And finally, we also provide presentations and seminars for people in these areas to help them grow. And that's what kind of brings us to the topic of today. We're preparing for you the Choose Your Major event. This event came to be because we noticed that there were a lot of students, especially the ones that had online classes, that they weren't really not sure about their major. We conducted a small survey and they told us that some of them didn't know much about the major that they were probably going into or about others. And we understand this because online classes can sometimes limit these opportunities that you can have, these interactions with professors and the classes, and sometimes they can be life-changing. And that's why we brought together a lot of people from a lot of upper years and faculty members to help you out and answer your questions and learn more about these areas. So a little bit about the agenda for today. We are going to present first the faculty. The faculty will present first. Then we're going to go with the upper year students in this order. First, the microbiology, then biology, and then at the end, the biochemistry and molecular biology in both streams. First, medical and molecular biology and biochemistry at the end. Before finishing the event, we'll have time for questions and answers. And without further ado, I give Dr. Plunkett the stage. Thanks everyone for coming, and there you go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Richard Plunkett, and I am a professor in the biology department. So let me see by hands or thumbs up or something in the chat that you guys can see me and hear me. Make sure everything's working correctly. We've only been Zooming for like 1.5 years, so everything should work, but it doesn't always. Nice to see all of you here. I see some faces I recognize and some names I know and some people that I don't know as well. So welcome, and thank you, Gustavo, for the invitation, and Seamus and Shilong for helping out with the club here. It looks like it's going to be some really fun stuff on the horizon here. So I have a job here tonight, which is to talk to you about biochemistry a little bit, but more specifically to talk to you about the degree programs that we have at UBCO in biochemistry and molecular biology. So I'll tell you straight up front, I'm not actually a biochemist. I am a microbiologist by training. All my degrees are biology degrees. I don't have a biochemistry degree, but I have experience doing cell physiology and cell research. And I figured out about halfway through my PhD work that all of the lab techniques I were using were protein biochemistry and molecular biology techniques. So I have a very applied sense of biochemistry. I come from it from a biological perspective. And I can talk to you guys about sort of my point of view and experience about the degree programs we have here. So we formerly had a biochemistry degree at UBCO, but in the last few years, we've shifted its focus and emphasis a little bit. And you'll notice that the name is now Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, which is sort of in line with what a lot of universities, especially in North America, are doing. Now, within that degree program, within that major, we have a couple of different concentrations. One is biochemistry, the other is medical and molecular biology. And we noticed right away that a lot of students were drawn to the medical and molecular biology stream. And I can tell you that my intuition is that it's because of the word medical in the title. I know that we have a lot of students here that have expressed an interest, a lot of people attending that have expressed an interest in medical school or biomedical careers down the road. And just to let you know, you don't have to have a degree with the name medical in the title to get into medical programs. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a tip. You don't need a degree to get into medical programs. For instance, UBC Medical School, you don't have to have a degree to be accepted in UBC Medical School. You have to have certain experience, education, certain kinds of classwork, and those are the sorts of things that I can talk about in our program. But MD is an undergraduate degree. So there you go. Biochemistry, it's just what it says, biology and chemistry. So really it's looking at biological systems at the molecular level, because that's where the chemistry is happening. And that's where microbiologists come into it, because if we're studying cells and cell physiology and microbes, they only have one cell. So we're looking at molecules and things like that. So biochemistry isn't just necessarily about medicine, but it's about chemical interactions, chemical structures, and how those things function to make living systems work. And that's what you would study in the biochemistry degree. Now, if you look at our academic calendar, the first thing you'll notice, if you look through a couple of the different degree programs, is that in the life sciences, the first 2 years are pretty nearly identical. You're going to have to take a lot of the common classwork, physics, mathematics, basic chemistry, biology, all that stuff is the same really for the first couple of years. It's in the upper level classes where you'll start to specialize and you'll start to have classes that are more focused towards your degree program. So in the biochemistry degree, those are going to include biochemistry classes, chemistry classes. So what's the difference then between the two different concentrations within the degree? That's at that upper level when you start to specialize. The biochemistry concentration has a focus on biochemistry research, a lot more of the physical chemistry and analytical laboratory techniques. Those kinds of courses are more the focus of the biochemistry concentration. The medical and molecular biology is going to be more based on biomedical sciences and medicine. So for instance, classes like the biochemical basis of disease, and you have a bit more flexibility for upper level electives, and those will tend to be kind of more biomedically oriented. But again, I already gave you the secret. Which degree you major in doesn't really matter. It's the stuff you learn, the courses that you're interested in, what you take, and how those can sort of help you. So I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing nothing, but I wanted to let you know that if you have questions or you have comments, this is a casual conversation tonight. So I don't have any slides at all. Nothing to show you. So I'm just here to talk to you now and kind of see if you guys have some questions for me as a person. I'm the program advisor for the medical and molecular biology, biochemistry concentration, but I can also answer general questions about the biochemistry program. So give you just a second in case anyone has questions. So please feel free, type stuff in the chat, put up your hand, talk. This is a casual get together tonight. We have a very small number of people, so we got lots of space to talk here.
And we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the very end. In case you're thinking about something now, but you're not 100% sure you want to ask, just keep your questions in mind and we can come back to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So is the biochemistry an option that people take if they want to go into forensics? Yeah, now I'm not a forensic scientist, but I have a basic understanding of forensics, and most of it comes from TV shows, right? I think like all of us. But you know, forensics is basically investigating crimes and things using different kinds of scientific techniques. So absolutely, molecular biology and biochemistry will be involved in those sorts of things. My advice, if you have a long-term plan for like forensic science or something like that that you would like to pursue, look at the kinds of places that have the graduate programs or professional schools that you're interested in and communicate with them. Start looking at the websites, but you can also talk to their admissions office and find out what they recommend students have coming in. You know, you don't necessarily have to have a biochemistry degree, but do they recommend you have biology, biochemistry? Do they recommend you have any analytical laboratory classes in chemistry, that sort of stuff? And you can kind of tailor your electives and tailor your program around what you think you want to do down the road. Other questions, comments, or thoughts? And I've got you all on my screen. I'm looking and I can see biochemists on my screen here. I can see actual real live biochemistry students, of which I was not one as an undergrad. I had a miserable experience with biochemistry as a class. But you guys, you're going to have the opportunity to ask some of the students here who actually are biochemists some questions tonight. So please keep your questions in mind. And I think I've probably talked plenty, so now I can turn it over to Dr. Daniel Doral, who's going to speak about microbiology. Is that correct? Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Richard. That was great. Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Dan Doral. I've been here since 1991. And teaching microbiology, and I've taught many of the courses that we offer now in those years. And what I want to talk to you about is just a brief description of the microbiology major, deciding between majors. So Richard did a great job of saying what degrees we offer in biology. And so just to go over those, we have the molecular and medical program he talked about, biochemistry, which is in the chemistry side of things, microbiology, and then general biology. And then we have zoology and ecology and evolution. And so because you're in this session today, I would think that, you know, the zoology and ecology and evolution is probably not an area you're interested in. However, in microbiology, we've had students in ecology and evolution. In zoology, it gets to be quite narrow and prescribed, and you might have a hard time taking the microbiology you want to take. But we've had students that have done honors project and research projects that are in the ecology and evolution, but they still have a lot of microbiology, particularly in the honors and the research side. So there is flexibility in doing that. Then I wanted to talk a little bit about the honors project, and then to finish up, what are the opportunities? What are the job opportunities? What are the graduate school or some post-baccalaureate? And post-baccalaureate are those small programs, maybe 1 year or 2 year, that specialize, like respiratory therapy over in Kamloops, or a med tech, like you can take a 2-year program and work in hospitals in a microbiology pathology lab, etc. So those are things. So let me just do a little description of microbiology. It's a broad scope degree. It covers a wide variety of areas, medical, virology. As many of you know, we've been offering since last year a COVID course, but we offer a general virology. And so these days, it seems like it's important that you know about virology, at least the last 2 years. And we've all had a part of us that has become a virologist. Maybe not as, you couldn't call yourself a virologist, but you know a lot more about virology than you did before COVID. And then food microbiology, really, really important. And we have courses that cover food microbiology, industrial microbiology, environmental microbiology, and in agriculture and forestry, etc. We have those components of part of the degree. Immunology, mycology, and I hope everybody knows what mycology is, right? Does anybody not know what mycology is? Okay, so it's the study of fungi, the most important, and that's in my mind, the most important group. I study fungi, and I study wine. I study a wide variety of things. Maternal milk is one of my projects. The gut of mice, wine, of course, beer, all those different aspects. I've done research in those areas. Okay, so that's what, you know, those are the topics that you, if you're interested in any of those, microbiology would be a good place for you to be. And deciding between biochemistry that Richard was talking about and microbiology, if you're more interested in the chemistry, then biochemistry is your choice. If you're interested more in the organisms, then that is. If you're interested in both, well, you still have a big choice. But you can do biology, and if you want to go to med school, you can still get it, as Richard said, you can still get into medical school with just a general biology. And you could really, if you really are good at degree navigator or whatever, you can construct your program like a microbiology major and get a biology major, but you can design it like it was a microbiology program. So if you wanted to keep general like that and have a choice of many different things, maybe that you can still do it through biology. But the advantage of microbiology is that it's designed for microbiology. It's already made choices for you, or some choices, but it's still very flexible, but not as flexible as biology. Okay, so about the honors project. During COVID, it is really hard to find a supervisor, and it still is. The supervisors can only take on a limited number of students. But that's where you don't have to take biotechnology to learn techniques. You can learn them in an honors. And a lot of my students have done that. They've taken biochemistry, and I expect them to take microbiology and biochemistry lab, but that gives them enough experience to come in and do an honors in microbiology. But you do need, it's helpful to know sterile technique and to be able to use a pipette. Okay, jobs, or what do you do after you get your degree? You can go to grad school, you can go to a post-baccalaureate, and BCIT has a whole bunch of programs. If you're in Alberta, SAIT and NAIT also have lots of programs, med tech programs, etc. And so you could get a degree, and then you increase your chances of getting those positions by getting a 1 or 2 year post-baccalaureate degree. Grad school, yeah, it sets you up, like with any of our majors, it can set you up to grad school. But you know, some places are more competitive than others. 75% or above, you're competitive for grad school. But it allows you to apply, like Richard said, any of our degrees would allow you to apply to medical school and dentistry. And so I had people that did masters on wine microbiology, et cetera, and they told me beforehand, I want to have a master's, but I want to become a dentist. And so for a time, everybody would say, oh, well, if you want to become a dentist, you have to do a master's with Dr. Dandral. Because I had so many people going in, they did a master's with me, and then they went to dentistry. So dentistry is another program where microbiologists are successful. Okay, I think I covered everything. If you have any questions, put it on the chat, or use your actual voice is good too. Yeah, don't be shy. So how many people want to go into med school? Okay, no. And see, that's the thing is that there's a lot of people that do, and there's many other opportunities in microbiology, biochemistry, etc., that you can go into. And it doesn't have to be med school or dentistry.
Dr. Durrell, there's a question in the chat for you.
Oh, okay.
It says you work in wine. Asking, I think, a little more detail about your work in wine research.
Oh, cool. Okay. I started out in about 2009. A student came up to me and said, I want to do a project on yeast in wine. And so I said, fine, that's great. I'll take anything that is fungi. And so I started that program in 2009. She worked with Quailsgate Winery, and that started a program that I still have going right now. And I've had about, of master's, PhD, etc., about 8 students in that program. I graduated 2 years ago, a PhD student, and she's published 13, 14 publications from her PhD or her postdoc. So she started out in wine. Now she's in San Diego working in a lab there on COVID, and she had her own project on COVID, sampling from people's houses that were asymptomatic and symptomatic. And so that kind of led her, but her specialty is still wine microbiology, but you can see how you can kind of spread out in other areas. So that was one student. Another student did a master's with me on wine, and now she's a dentist. Basically, what we found is that when you inoculate a wine with a particular yeast, it's not always that one that does the fermentation. There could be other strains that have been used in that winery that get in that wine, and now it's a mixture of strains. And we found, and the winemaker thinks that when they add something, that is the strain that is fermenting their wine. And I would say 30–40% of the time, it's a mixture of yeast.
I think the stories you've shared are a really good example of the versatility and importance of the work the microbiologists do. So yeah, thank you for giving us a good example of sort of what kind of options are available to people taking a microbiology degree. And speaking of microbiology, round of applause for Dr. Durrell, everyone.
And then there was a sign, is that Sid? Does somebody know Sydney?
Oh, in the chat?
Yeah, in the chat, it
Yeah.
says.
It looks like Dylan knows.
Yeah, she's sorry, I guess turn my mic on. Yeah, she's like kind of helped me out with some undergrad research I was doing with yeast and wine stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so that's Sydney Morgan is her name. And
Yeah.
She's an ambassador for microbiology at UBC Okanagan. And
Yeah,
if you want to get in touch with her, yeah, look her up on the internet and she'll help you out. She's a great person.
I think she's teaching for Okanagan College now too, actually.
She has taught that it's up in the air. She's applying to many different places. She'll get a job soon. That's what happens when you're qualified like that. You have a lot of opportunities. So I think she's in a position where she's looking right now. Okay.
All right. Okay, so I think we should probably start moving into the student presenters. I think first up we had, well, microbiology up first. So Oz, I think you're our representative from microbiology.
Hi, Seamus.
Hi.
Hi, so thank you for the introduction, Seamus. My name is Oz. I'm going into my 4th year of microbiology, which is odd to say because I guess it's my last year now. What do I plan on doing with my degree? I mean, the overall goal is med school, but I'm also open to a master's in virology or going into public health for epidemiology. So why did I choose my major? My story is a little bit weird. I was originally a chemistry major because I do a lot of work in the chemistry department. Gino DeLabio and Dr. Freeman convinced me to do a chemistry degree. I ended up switching to biochemistry and then from biochemistry to microbiology, specifically because looking at the medical molecular biochemistry and the microbiology degree, the microbiology degree is a lot more flexible with your degree requirements. If you go on Degree Navigator, which if you're like a 3rd or 4th year, it's like your best friend when it comes to class selection. For microbiology, it just says, pick any of these classes from this list or pick any upper level classes. I really like that because it gave me the flexibility to choose what classes I want and make it fit within my schedule. It also took a lot, it opened up a lot of free time for me. If I took medical molecular biology, I would have to take pharmacology. I would have to take analytical chemistry or physical chemistry, like these harder classes that maybe I'm not really interested in and I don't really want to do. So I took the easier classes and had more free time to focus on stuff outside of school. I'm applying to med, so I do a lot outside of school volunteering. I coach and ref soccer. I do a lot of stuff outside of school. So the upsides of my major, I guess, like I said before, is kind of the flexibility. I can choose and take whatever class I want. The microbiology department here at UBCO is super flexible, like Dr. Durrell was saying. There is food and industrial microbiology, there's mycology, there's immunology, there's medical microbiology, there's prokaryotic physiology. You can take whatever you want, whatever you want to be interested in. I know people who are in microbiology who specifically focus on the medical side of it, so med micro and immunology and COVID 420A. I'm kind of all over the place. I've taken food and industrial micro, I've taken 420. But yeah, some downsides. This one might be not really a downside, but when it comes to course selection, it's hard to make everything fit together because you're kind of open to take whatever you want. It's kind of hard to fit the puzzle pieces sometimes. And sometimes you have to push stuff to the next year. Like I think COVID 420 and another class conflicted or something else like that. Any advice for students? This goes out to anyone, not just if you're considering microbiology. I'm the president of UBCO Pre-Med. I've done the MCAT here. I kind of know, I've been to enough medical presentations. I could do them now. Don't pick the medical molecular option because it has the word medical in it. And I think Dr. Durrell and Dr. Plunkett said med in Canada is an undergraduate degree. You only need 90 credits. So it's only 3 years of full-time study. Don't pick it just because, oh, it's the hardest, it's going to prepare me for the MCAT. I have an MCAT book here. That's kind of all you need to prepare for the MCAT. Everything you need is in these books, and any of the classes you need to take, you take anyway. So like organic chemistry, I think the 213, 214 one, the one for biology majors, is sufficient enough for the MCAT. The only class I recommend taking for the MCAT is biochemistry with Dr. Plunkett, which you have to take as a science major anyway. It's a prerequisite. So yeah, don't pick the medical option just because it says medical. Take a look at what you want to do. The sad reality is only 20% of students will apply to get in. So kind of think about what your backup plan is. For me, my backup plan is I really like virology. I also like international relations. I might be doing something with Medics Sans Frontières or with UNICEF looking at wastewater treatment. And yeah, my favorite course have to be, it's kind of selfish, prokaryotic physiology with Dr. Plunkett. I love that class. It was like at 8 or 9 in the morning, and I always attended the live lectures just because Dr. Plunkett had great energy. And it wasn't so much didactic learning. Yes, Dr. Plunkett lectured, but it was more like, hey, here's something to learn in class, and then here's a scenario of like a real world application, like copper mine tillings or uranium microbes that drink alcohol. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Back to you, Seamus.
Oh, awesome. Good timing. So yeah, I think we don't have another microbiome person here, do we? I think Zaria is up next. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah, you totally did. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Representing general biology. So take it away. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Azaria. Hi, Dr. Plunkett. So I am going into my 3rd year studying general biology. And it's kind of similar to microbiology in terms of the flexibility, which is one of my favorite things about it. I'm personally more interested in like the macrobiology. So that's why I chose to go this direction instead. But yeah, so in like Dr. Plunkett and Dr. Durrell said, like 1st and 2nd year of like the life sciences are pretty similar. 1st year, you take a lot of like biology, chemistry, physics. I think a lot of you were 1st year, so you probably know. 2nd year, it's kind of, for me, it was like you can take either this class or this class. Like you kind of have 2 options or 1 option. And then going into my 3rd year, I have a lot of different options, which is very exciting, a little like overwhelming because you have so many different things to choose from, but you can kind of direct what you want to do for your classes. So you can really take things you're interested in, which makes school more fun and more interested. I think school can be a challenge, but as long as you enjoy it and you're interested in it, you will be able to do really well and be successful. So one of the reasons I took biology is I'm interested in a course after a master's degree at the University of Toronto called Biomedical Communications. So I know a couple of people in the survey had said they're interested in non-traditional paths. So this program is actually combining like communications and art with science in order to make it more accessible to people and to explain it in a way that's not just like science jargon. So using visuals and video and things like that. I'm really passionate about art as well as science. So this is kind of a way to combine that. So I just wanted to let you know that like, although a lot of people do come into sciences in order to go to med school, and I think a lot of people are interested in that, you may find pathways that you had no idea you were going to go into or you're expecting at all. I think it's important to keep your mind open. I think it's good to have a pathway. So say you do want to go med school, that's totally fine. But maybe on your way to med school, you take a class that you just absolutely fall in love with. You meet a prof who's going to help you with research and you end up going that way. I think, yeah, just having an open mindset is super important. Yeah, so another like piece of advice I would have is like, don't be scared about choosing a major because it is pretty flexible to choose, especially if in your earlier years, like you can change. It's not the end of the world if you choose the wrong one. And I'd say just talk to people. upper years especially, who have experienced different classes. They know a lot of stuff and they're always super excited to share their knowledge. I was a peer mentor last year, so you're always free to reach out to me or the other peer mentors. We love to talk to you guys. Yeah, besides that, I would say like definitely consider biology if you're interested in just following your interests, I guess, because it leaves a lot of room to grow. But yeah, I think that's everything for me. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Azaria. So next up, I think, is the medical and molecular bio option. So I see Shalong has already unmuted his mic, so I'll let him go first.
I was going to ask if you wanted to go first, my friend, but
oh no, it's you and Anna. So
oh, is it? Oh, you're not speaking for it. Okay.
Nope.
Anna, would you like to go first?
You can go ahead. You're already unmuted and ready to go.
I'm just wasting time then. Hi, everyone. I'm Shalong Pan. I'm going to my 4th year of my medical and molecular biology. Most syllables at any event. It sounds so fancy when you're at create orientation and they line up all the leaders and have you list off your fancy schmancy majors. Everyone's like, biology, anthropology, medical and molecular biology. And it's just a mouthful, but it's a fun degree. So right off the bat, it's a really hard degree. A lot of your courses are kind of pre-selected for you. But the counter side of that is that it really expanded my perspectives in science. I learned about fields that I didn't even think could exist. I'm talking about we're building 3-dimensional structures out of pre-written DNA. We're using the refraction of light of a laser through a microglass bead, and the refraction causes force on the bead. And using this, I can pull on pieces of molecules and test how strong they are before they rip apart. It's just, I'm studying viruses and nucleic acids and all sorts of cool stuff. And it's just really eye-opening. And it's an amazing degree. Yeah, optical tweezers. Yeah, it's an amazing degree if you love chemistry, biology, biochemistry. If you do not love these things, it is going to hurt. It is going to be a hard degree. There's going to be a lot of reading that you're not going to get through. There's going to be big words. My mug says single molecule mechanobiology on it. I still don't know what that means. It's definitely a hard degree. Like Oz said, it is probably not the best pre-med degree because you maybe won't get as much yeah, I am dramatic. Okay, Seamus? You maybe won't get as much diversity. Like medical schools in Canada are extremely competitive. They want to see that you are an interesting, unique individual that's going to bring something to a medical personnel team that just, hi, I studied biology and exclusively biology because it is what I needed to test on the MCAT. It's just a bit more interesting to do other things too, right? That being said, every single thing on the MCAT is within 3 years of the medical and molecular biology degree. So take that as you will. But other than the degree itself, I also want to talk about, like, you do, even for these super specific degrees, you do have the opportunity to do minors or to take other fun electives. Like you have 4 mandatory arts electives. Don't just go, oh, psychology is on the MCAT and you need it to be a doctor. I'll take just the psychology classes because maybe you don't love the psychology or they're too full. Take other courses. I took a course called Biomedical Ethics. It was incredibly interesting. I learned a lot from it. And maybe a lot of my friends take anthropology or sociology and they really enjoy it. They do well. Seamus. Oh yeah, you took it, right? Sociology? Yeah.
I did linguistics.
Boom, there's a nod of approval. Yes, something like that. I don't know any art words. I personally really do love the sciences, which is why I'm in this degree. Why I'm in this degree though? Originally coming out of high school, I thought, oh, I'll go straight bio. I like bio. Then in first year, I found, oh, I really like chemistry. Then I go tippy-tap type on the degree requirements on the UBC Okanagan academic calendar, and I find out, oh, wow, chemistry has a lot of courses, a lot of diversity, but you have to take all of them, as well as second year level math. So what I ended up doing was taking medical molecular biology because it kind of gave me that space I needed to take all these biochemistry courses, take all these biology courses, because you select from these pools of courses. And then so you are technically limited to the degree, the faculty, but you have choices within it. And then I also managed to take a Chem Minor, which I do have a meeting with Dr. Perry, Richard. I got that set up. But the Chem Minor does not require second-year level math. Big bueno right there. Oh yeah. But it literally second-year level courses, and cool, take some upper year level chem credits. We don't care which ones. You can just take them, have fun. And so I have a lot of freedom to choose courses that interest me, like instrumental analytical chemistry, as well as special topics. I've already taken cellular biophysics with Dr. Lee, who I am now in his lab for. And I'm planning on taking chemical biology with Frederick Menard, and I don't know what that's about. Sounds a lot like biochemistry to me. I haven't taken it yet. I've spewed on a lot about this degree. You can take an honors degree for this program. You can take a minor in biochemistry as well. Just for an example of some of the courses that I have taken, I've taken nucleic acids, which studied all these really in-depth and kind of new things that are occurring in the field of DNA and RNA, such as like building those 3D structures called DNA origami, or unique structures like not just duplex where it's 2 strands, but maybe triplex or quadruplex type DNAs. And again, it really opened up my perspectives on the field. I took virology, which was really interesting, really well taught by Dr. Corinne Mann. You learn about all the different types of viruses, how they're different, how their individual aspects make them unique. Covered a little bit of COVID, and it was just incredible experience. I've taken immunology, pharmacology, which included a bit of cardiac physiology, medical micro. The Biochem 393 lab is awesome for just learning some techniques. But so overall takeaway I would give you is take the 2 years, just do general science courses in second year. And if you find out that, wow, you love biochemistry, you love that in-depth nature of the world from a biological perspective, like learning how these enzymes and these proteins interact with each other, but you don't want to learn physics and learn how like cells and bolt-ons or whatever they're called interact with each other, that's it for you. But you're also going to find out if you go straight into it that, wow, it is a hard degree and maybe you don't enjoy it, and not necessarily all of these classes are applicable to other degrees. I'm getting angry messages from my colleague here, so I think I'll let him take over unless anyone has some questions for me. I'll give you until 10 fingers down. My career goal. Oh yeah, good one, right on the end there. So I am also interested in medicine. I wrote my MCAT last year, got my competitive score. I did that in my third year, similar to Oz, I believe, because then you don't have to write your MCAT and study for it while applying to medical school, which is incredibly a lot. I think I'd like to be a pediatrician or a surgeon. Right now, focus is on getting in. I don't have any backup plans. I don't have any other goals in my life. I'm going to be a doctor. If it takes a few extra years, maybe I have to do a master's in between. That's fine with me. I would really enjoy doing the research, but I don't want to pursue research as my only career. When I applied to MD at UBC and some of the other schools in Canada that do offer the PhD MD program, I am very interested in that. What that is usually it's going to be a longer degree overall, but you get a huge research aspect. But again, those are very competitive. UBC only has 10 of those spots total, and you basically just have to get into the MD and then say, hey, look at this. I am a great researcher and I have these cool ideas, and please take me into this program. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, he's better than the other guys, hopefully. Yeah, does that answer your question? Feel free to speak on the mic if you are going to be more comfortable there too. Seamus, your turn.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Thanks.
Pardon me, Shalon?
It's all you.
Okay. So yeah, next up is Anna, who's also in the same program as Shalon. So take it away, Anna.
I made a short slideshow. I don't know if I can share my screen. Oh yeah, okay.
You should be able to. Awesome.
So just a little bit about me. I graduated from a local high school here in 2018, and I went straight into university here at UBCO. I'm going into my 4th year of the medical and molecular biology stream of biochemistry, just what Shalong kind of same degree he was just talking about. And I'm also planning to pursue a career in medicine, as a lot of us are, it seems like. So I chose my major mostly because it had the word medical in it. I know a lot of people are advising against that, but it has worked out well for me and I've really loved it so far. I found that it's just a perfect blend of biology and chemistry. Personally, I loved bio in high school, but I found it was a lot of memorization and I wasn't huge on that. I did like the application and like the math and chemistry, but I just loved the blend of them together. And then looking at all the required courses, a lot of them interested me. All of those like medical options, so like medical microbiology, pharmacology, biochemical basis of disease, those really caught my interest right from the start. And it really did prepare well for the MCAT. I took it last year as well, and everything is covered in like, I took it after my 2nd year and found that it was very manageable. So if you're interested in that stream and want to use your degree to prepare you for that, it's not necessary, as you can, you know, do a lot of the studying on your own, as Oz mentioned. You just need to buy some books. But yeah, I like the structure that kind of prepared me for that route. Some pros and cons. So I'll start with pros. There are a variety of research opportunities. I find that being in biochemistry, you can kind of choose both from the bio and chem department. So it might open some more doors than choosing like a strictly bio or chem degree. There is more structure than other majors, as some people have mentioned. So there is less flexibility in terms of your electives. But I personally like this because when it comes to making your timetable for the next year, there's less picking and choosing. And so a lot of it is more set out for you. Good preparation for a medical career, I find. But yeah, as many have mentioned, it's definitely not necessary, and you can go from any kind of background into that. Some cons is it's definitely a heavy workload. As Shalong mentioned, a lot of the required courses are very hard and won't necessarily boost your GPA. So if you are wanting to aim for that super high GPA, you got to make sure that you really enjoy these courses that you're taking, or else you won't want to study, and that'll definitely reflect in your grades. And less flexibility. So if that is something that you are really looking for and wanting to be able to choose courses that really interest you, and having lots of different courses to choose from, this might not be the best option for you. Some of my favorite courses so far have been, these are all required courses in the medical and molecular biology option. So I really enjoyed Principles of Genetics. Dr. D'Souza is great. He's really engaging in his lectures. And I remember I had an 8 a.m. class with him, I think, and he was just always cracking jokes and really engaging everyone. So I really enjoyed that. And Biochemistry with Dr. Plunkett. It had a lot of team-based learning, which was different from other courses I had taken. So in class, you do a lot of group work with small teams, and yeah, that was a very interesting way to learn. And tests are team-based as well. There's a team-based portion, so lots of interacting with your peers. And then Biochemical Basis of Disease. This is with Dr. Kleggeris, who also teaches the Pharmacology 1. And this one has a very interesting course delivery. It's similar to something you'll get if you go into dentistry or medicine. It has the problem-based learning. So lectures are asynchronous, and then you use class time to really work on these problems that you don't necessarily have all the prior knowledge to be able to solve, and you're able to work through them by interacting with your peers as well. So yeah, those are 3 courses I've really enjoyed so far. And just a little bit of advice is to really think about what courses you've enjoyed up to this point in your degree. So because any course that you enjoy, you're going to want to study more and obviously do better. So don't think about like, oh, what's going to be best for medicine or best for, like, obviously think about your career aspirations a little bit, but really just want to be doing what you enjoy so that you can excel at it. Looking at the degree requirements online, that's all available, then you can really look into what courses are required for certain degrees and if those catch your interest. And then also, if you're interested in minoring in something, now would also be a time to kind of declare that or think about that, so you can plan your degree accordingly. But as many have mentioned, this can definitely be switched later on, and I found out you can declare a minor. I think it closes online to self-declare, but you can still declare like up to the day before you graduate, I think. So no stress, but it is something to think about. And yeah, that's all I have. So I'll give it back to Seamus.
Awesome. Anyone have any questions for Anna? All right, if there are any, just drop them in the chat. And next up is the, last but not least, is the biochemistry option. So Christy or Victoria, whichever of you wants to go first is totally fine. All right, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I'll go
Oh,
first.
Christy unmuted her mic. Awesome, cool. Thank you for not forcing me to choose.
Okay, I put it together a few slides. They're not as detailed as Anna's, but hopefully they'll help guide you along. So just share these. Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Christy and I am in the biochemistry molecular biology major, biochemistry option. Super excited to speak with you today about this opportunity. So just some general tips. As mentioned by my colleagues, course selection. There's so many courses you can take, and I hope that one thing that you get from this is there are so many exciting opportunities, and no matter what major you decide to go into, you will find just so many interesting things, and I hope you find something that really piques your interest and that you can be passionate about. How I chose the biochemistry option is I just went through the calendar and I've included the little link right here. This will be your best friend, trust me. And just what courses are interesting to me. And I found that all the courses that I found super fascinating were in the biochemistry option. So I'm like, why not take that and fit all those required courses in? Another thing is BU. There are lots of things of, oh, take this major, it will look good on an application. I'm planning on going to medical school. So that was definitely something that was forefront in my mind when choosing a major entering second year is what's going to look good? What are the admissions committees going to look at and be like, oh, she should be in medical school? And I hope that that question has definitely been answered for you, is medical schools are looking for diverse applicants. So it's not choosing what looks good, what your friends, your families, the random person down the street thinks you should do. It is what speaks to you. So if biochemistry is what you're interested in, then go for it. If biology or microbiology is what you're interested in, go for that. Medical schools want people who are passionate about something. So if you pursue a degree that is what you're interested in, then they'll see that and it will show in your grades too. So also, why biochemistry? So as mentioned, by chemistry plus biology equals awesome. The biochemistry option will provide you the skills to explore both the fields so that you'll be able to explore opportunities in both areas. And also, it is quite structured, as my colleagues have already mentioned, but that also enables you to create a more stable timetable. Here I'll highlight, there are electives. So the biochemistry option does have a few more electives than the med one. So if that's something you're considering, if all those biochemistry courses aren't quite for you, then you might want to go with maybe the biochemistry option. So one thing I would recommend is going into first and second year, it was really focused on getting those biologies, getting those chemistries. And those are definitely courses I love, but considering diversing your education too, looking to other courses. Undergrad is your opportunity to explore so many different fields. So I ended up taking a course in healthy aging, and definitely something that I wouldn't have really considered, but found it fascinating. So don't put blinders on, just focusing on those few specific courses. Another thing is for the biochemistry option is Math 200 Calc 3 is required. Some people, calculus is not their thing. I love calculus, so that's one of the things that swayed me towards the biochemistry option. Definitely it helps a little bit for physical chemistry and biophysical chemistry if you're interested in more chemistry streams. So I would recommend that course. You can definitely still do physical chemistry without previously having Calc 3, but it definitely does help. And just a few course recommendations. I loved all my courses, but these are a few that I really enjoyed. Clinical neuroscience with Dr. Gabon is fascinating. If you're interested in delving into the mind and all the different neurodegenerative diseases, fascinating course. Virology has already been mentioned, obviously a favorite. Dr. Mann is so passionate about what he teaches, so definitely an exciting course. And on this list is also molecular biochemistry. Dr. Plunkett, absolutely phenomenal instructor, and the flipped classroom really enables you to really delve into the information and not just have passive learning, but really make the learning your own. A few other courses, developmental psychology. I took a lot of psychologies for arts electives, as that is something that I'm really passionate about. So very interesting. Dr. Piercy, phenomenal instructor. Enzymology with Dr. Shipley. It's a 4th-year biochemistry course. Super fascinating. So as you can tell, lots of really, really interesting courses. Highly recommend the biochemistry option if those types of courses are what pique your interest. It is challenging. As my colleagues have mentioned, this is a difficult major, but if those are the courses that you're passionate about, you will study hard. So I do know some colleagues who end up dropping out of biochemistry because they didn't want to take physical chemistry. One class may be challenging, but still go for it. And if you really put in the work and talk to the professors, you can ace any class. It will be challenging, but I know you can do it. So that's all I have. So I will pass it on to Seamus, but stop sharing. One thing I will mention is in my second year, after my second year, I did take the MCAT without taking biochemistry. So it definitely is possible to still get a competitive score. My reasoning behind that was so that I could do research after my 3rd year and not have to worry about MCAT and medical school applications at the same time. So I'd be more than happy to discuss that as well. So that is all I have at the moment. Hope you got some interesting information from this. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any of those.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Christy. And last but certainly not least is Victoria, also talking about the biochem major. So go ahead.
Hi, yeah, like Seamus said, my name is Victoria. I'm going into my 4th year of biochemistry, like the true biochemistry option. I am hoping to do research and hope to go for my master's and my PhD and maybe become a professor or something like that. I really like the idea of like continual change and continual growth. So I want something that I'll be able to keep learning. And yeah, I chose biochemistry because in 1st year in biology specifically, I really like talking about central metabolism and all of that. I knew that in biochemistry, that was a main focus of the 2nd semester course. I also really liked chemistry, and I really liked the fact that it wasn't just memorization and that you were learning actively and trying to like problem solve, which was a really big thing for me. The upsides to the biochemistry major, you get to take a lot of really interesting courses, and the courses go really in depth in 3rd and 4th year, which I really like. Yeah, I also really like that it was a more structured timetable. I know that some people said that they liked the flexibility. I personally liked the structure of it, and that like I could only take a few electives, which was nice, and that everything always like fit really well in my course timetable. Some of the downsides, like Christy mentioned, physical chemistry was definitely really difficult, but I did learn a lot, and I think that it was really helpful towards the upper level biochemistry courses, and I would recommend it. Dr. Jack was really great, and he did his best to make a very complicated course make sense. Math 200, I know a lot of people also steer clear of that one. I actually found that course to be relatively simple in comparison to just learning regular integrals in Math 101. When you go into Calc 2, I actually found it got more clear and made more sense, if anything. I would say those are the only real downsides. Everything else was really amazing. All the courses are super interesting. And yeah, specifically biochemistry with Dr. Plunkett was amazing. The team-based learning is so great, and learning those really complicated topics with a team make it so much easier. And the teams that you get put in, you guys can all bounce ideas off each other, and the learning environment there is really, really amazing. I also really enjoyed intro genetics with Dr. D'Souza. That course was really great. I also had it at 8 a.m. and he was a very engaging professor. He was great. And then, yeah, any advice, just choose what makes you happy in the courses that you think you're going to enjoy. If you think taking Math 200 is going to be the worst thing ever, don't do biochemistry. But I personally enjoyed it, and all of the difficult courses, I think, really built me up as a student and taught me how to study. So I would definitely recommend taking biochemistry.
All right, awesome. So I think that's all now in terms of like structured content. We've got through our intro, we've had our faculty presenters, and now we've heard all of our student presenters speak. So if students, well, I guess we can open the floor now to students, anyone wanting to ask questions. I don't know if our presenters have questions for each other. I definitely learned a little bit from all of you. So thanks everyone for coming out, and we'll stick around for a little bit for a Q&A session. So has anyone taken courses outside of the biochem and molecular bio, or the molecular biochem course taught by Dr. Plunkett, where they have a similar like team-based or problem-based learning? Like, is that a common option in courses that you've seen outside of this program, or is it sort of unique to the way those courses are taught?
I've taken, last year I took cell bio with Dr. Robin, and it wasn't exactly like team-based learning, but we did have like a team project that we had to do that was worth like quite a bit of our grade. And it kind of made you focus on the social aspect of science and the like science aspect of science, which was a really good thing. It kind of like made you take a step out of like just studying and be like, oh, this is the major context of this. So I would really recommend that class. Also, there was a lot of problem-based solving, or problem-based work. You would have problem sets, and they would be kind of like real life lab data or something that you would have to, she would teach you how to, and then you'd be like, okay, what does this mean? Which again, takes you out of the like just studying for studying's sake and into the like, okay, what is this actually gonna help me with? So I'm pretty sure you have to take that class anyway, but it's a really good class. I recommend.
Yeah, Dr. Young does a really excellent job of breaking everything down into like digestible pieces, and then teaching students to like put it all back together to solve problems, right? So she has a really outstanding class. And I think that's is cell biology a required course for all of the majors here? Because I know it is for, at least for medical and molecular bio. I think it is for microbiology as well.
And for general bio it is as well. So probably all of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a question here about who should I contact for a particular major. And so I would go to your major advisor. So the advisor in your major. If it's general of classes to take, then advising works, but oftentimes your major advisor is going to give you more specific information. And so like in microbiology, come to me. Just email me and I probably can answer most of your questions. on the degree itself.
Indra had a question asking, what did we do to get into research? So I think you're not talking about, hey, I would like to volunteer to donate plasma, which you can totally do. My friend Garrett over in another lab in the Reichwald building would love some plasma samples if you ever have any. But talk to a prof. That's how pretty much anyone gets into a research lab. You go up to your prof and be like, hey, you know me because I ask you kind of dumb questions sometimes. I know you because you teach me things and say things to me. Do you have a job for me? Or can I do work for you for free? That's usually more likely what's going to happen. But then you get experience, you start learning about the projects and the research that that lab is doing. And then eventually maybe you pick up a directed studies or an honors project or an NSERC or URA, which are incredible opportunities to be paid to do research. Missing out a little there, hurts. But yeah, just like it's such a barrier, I think. Just talk to a prof. Literally just write the email that says, hi, Dr. Plunkett, can I set up a meeting with you to ask if you have any research opportunities or if anyone you know has any research opportunities? Simple as that, hit send, maybe with a all the best, you know, something polite.
If I could just put a little point in there, I was one of those students, I ended up contacting Dr. Kligaris. I think it was after first semester of first year. And I'm like, I love what he does. Glial cells, fascinating. I'm like, I want to be a part of this. First year, I had no lab experience except for like first year labs. But I ended up getting the opportunity to be invited to his office and discuss what I wanted to do. It turned out that I didn't actually get into the lab for a whole year, but during that period, I was still in contact with the grad students in the lab, still in contact with Dr. Kligaris, took some courses on research ethics, biosafety, chem safety, and ended up having the opportunity to volunteer in the lab. And it ended up turning into work study. And then I had the opportunity to get a URA through this summer. So maybe my just recommendation, it's never too early to contact professors. The worst they can tell you is, I'm sorry, we don't have a spot at the moment. But to show that you're interested, start early. And then they get to know your name. They get to know that you're interested. And yes, who knows what kind of opportunity that can turn into. Sometimes doors will close, professors will say no, but somebody is going to say yes if you continue to ask, to continue to show interest and continue to grow. So that's just a little advice I have for you all if you're interested in research.
Both of those advices, Shilong and Christy, are excellent. That's how you get places, is talking to your professors. And if they don't have anything available, they'll send you to somebody who does. It is competitive. It's really hard during COVID or even probably post-COVID for a year or so. But that's the way you're going to do it, is talking to your professors.
80% of the, well, what's the saying? It's like, you get it 80% done just by showing up, right? That's the most important thing, is to be present and kind of be persistent about pursuing your interests, whatever they are. Because like Christy said earlier in her 5 minutes in the spotlight, undergrad is a really great opportunity to sort of pursue whatever interests you. And you can start at point A and, you know, end up way at point B. Like I know there are people that, for example, like there are people in chem labs who are microbiome majors, and there are people who do research in different fields than what their degree program is, because it's not quite as rigid as you would be led to believe just by reading through the academic calendar. There is a lot more flexibility in terms of what a major is and, you know, what you're actually going to end up doing with a degree. Go ahead, Dr. Plunkett. Sorry, you can unmute at any time.
Thanks. You're exactly right, Seamus. And I think that a good take-home message from this meeting tonight is the idea of flexibility and diversity. Diversity in the kinds of classes you take, diversity in the kinds of experiences people are looking for here. And the flexibility in the programs, the different programs, even the flexibility to change your mind and change your major. That's been brought up a couple of times here. And science cannot happen in a vacuum. Biomedical science, engineering science, research science, it can't happen with people working alone in one specific area. It happens by cross-pollination. It happens by collaboration. It happens by teamwork. It happens by people coming up with crazy interdisciplinary ideas. When I was an undergraduate student and then going into graduate school, the research work I did was environmental microbiology. So that's, you know, what microbes are doing out in the world, not necessarily just medically important microbes. And so we had projects with engineers, we had projects with geneticists, we had projects with ecology and evolution people going on, and all these things coming from different directions. We had people in the lab with all kinds of majors, like I said, from the School of Engineering, not even science majors at all, but engineering majors coming in, and physicists. We had physicists working with us. So open-mindedness, flexibility, valuing the diversity of the fields that are around you and the people that are around you goes a really long way. And so I think we should thank the iGEM Club here for putting this meeting together. There's only a few of us here, but this will spread and this will grow. And it's going to be a really valuable addition, I think, to the UBCO. So thanks, guys.
Thank you as well to Dr. Dural and Dr. Plunkett for spending their very valuable time with us today.
And also to our student presenters for also spending their very valuable time with us today. Yeah, unless there's any more questions, I think we can call it a night now. Our numbers have been slowly dwindling. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming out, and hopefully this was helpful in helping you decide which major you want to pursue and in understanding sort of what sort of biology related programs are available at UBCO.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks,
Seamus.
thanks, Dan. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. We don't get to see, the professors don't get to see each other.
Nope. And Shalom, don't go anywhere just yet. Okay.
Yeah, I'm staying.
Okay.
Gus, Seamus, you should also stay for a second, yeah?
Definitely.
Okay.
We can discuss.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you guys so much.
Okay.
Have a nice summer.
Hi, everyone.
Enjoy the temperature, 42 degrees.
I'll believe it
would
when I
love to
see
be there.
it.